In 1954, a steelworker in Gary, Indiana, came home from the second shift and found his 8-year-old son sitting on the basement steps with a broken pocket knife in his hand. The boy had been told not to touch it. The blade had snapped at the tang. The father did not raise his voice. He took the knife, sat down at the workbench, heated the steel with a propane torch, and forged a new tang from a piece of wagon spring he had kept on a shelf since 1947. He fitted a new walnut handle, rubbed it with linseed oil, and handed it back to the boy at breakfast. "The knife is still in that family. The grandson carries it. He has never broken it. That fix is number 19 on this list." And the father did not consider it a repair. He considered it a lesson. These were not survivalists. The word did not exist in 1954. They were fathers. Mill hands, veterans, men who had carried a rifle through Europe or the Pacific and come home to a country that had decided, finally, that ordinary working people could own a house. So they bought one. And they fixed every single thing in it themselves. Because a father who could not fix his own roof, feed his family from his own basement, and teach his sons what he knew was not yet a father in 1954. He was a tenant in his own life. We have replaced every one of those skills with a phone, a card, and a service window. On the day none of those things work, the fathers of 1954 would walk out of their basements and start fixing the block. We would refresh the app. Number 21 fixes a broken window with 4 metal points and a thumb-rolled bead of putty, and that pain will outlast every vinyl replacement window made after 1995. Number 8 thaws a frozen pipe in 11 minutes with a tool sitting on the bathroom counter. And number 1, the simplest thing on this list, is the lesson every father in 1954 taught his children before they turned 10, and that almost no American child has been taught since 1985. These 25 skills were not chores. They were the quiet inheritance every father in that decade tried to leave behind. Most of his children did not realize what they were being given until 40 years later, when they needed it and could not remember it. Hit subscribe. Let us count down the 25 forgotten survival skills every American father taught his family in the 1950s. Number 25, reading fuel by sound and smell. A car in 1954 did not always have a working fuel gauge. You listened for the lean cough at idle, smelled the richness in the exhaust, and tapped the tank with a knuckle, listening for the hollow note that meant a quarter of a tank remained. He never ran out. A modern driver runs out while staring at a digital display. Number 24, banking the coal furnace overnight. He shoveled fresh coal across the back of the firebox and damped the draft to a whisper. The coal smoldered slowly until 5 in the morning. The house held 70 degrees through a Michigan night at 4 below zero. He taught the boy before the boy could spell furnace. A modern furnace dies the moment the breaker flips. Number 23, stretching the grocery dollar with a soup pot. Sunday's roast became Monday's hash, Tuesday's sandwiches, and Wednesday's stock pot with the bones, the carrot ends, and the onion skins. By Friday, the family had eaten 7 meals from 1 cut of meat. He kept the household fed on $12 a week. We spend that on a single delivery fee. Number 22nd, reseating a porcelain toilet without a plumber. You shut the supply, sponged the bowl dry, and lifted the whole fixture off the floor flange. You scraped the old wax ring with a putty knife and pressed a fresh ring into place. You set the bowl back, rocked it level, and tightened the closet bolts in quarter turns. 20 minutes. A plumber today charges $400. Number 21. Replacing a window pane with glazier's points and putty. You pried the old putty out with a chisel, lifted the broken glass, and tapped 4 glazier's points into the wood frame. You laid in the new pane and rolled a snake of linseed putty around the edge with your thumb. The glass held for 40 winters. A vinyl replacement window today lasts 18. Number 20. Splicing a frayed lamp cord. You stripped a half-inch of insulation with your pocket knife, twisted the copper strands, soldered the joint with a candle and rosin core solder, and wrapped it in friction tape. The lamp lit the boy's homework for 30 more years. A modern household throws the lamp away. Number 19. Forging a broken tool back to life. A snapped knife tang, a cracked hammer head, a bent screwdriver. He heated the steel cherry red on a coal forge in the corner of the basement and worked it back to shape on a railroad tie anvil. He had built the forge himself out of a brake drum and a hairdryer blower. The tool was not the inheritance. The skill was. Number 18. Changing oil and packing wheel bearings. The car went up on jack stands every spring. He drained the oil into a coffee can, replaced the filter, pulled the front wheels, washed the bearings in kerosene, and packed them by hand with white lithium grease. The car ran 200,000 miles. A modern dealership recommends a new car at 100,000. Number 17. Sharpening every blade in the house once a month. The kitchen knives, the lawnmower blade, the axe, the hedge clippers, the handsaw, the pocket knife. He sat at the workbench with a flat file and an oil stone and worked through them on the first Saturday of the month. A dull blade was a sign of a lazy household. Number 16. Splitting and stacking a winter's worth of firewood. 2 cords for the fireplace, 1 for the smokehouse. He felled the tree with a crosscut saw and a wedge. He bucked it into rounds, split it with a maul, and stacked it bark side up against the south wall. It dried by August and burned clean by November. A cord today costs $400 delivered. Number 15. Knowing how to tie a tie, a bowline, and a square knot, and teaching all 3 to his sons before they turned 10. The tie was for church and for funerals. The bowline was for tying off a load on the truck bed. The square knot was for everything else. By age 10, the boy could do all 3 in the dark. A modern father pays for clip-on ties and bungee cords. Number 14. Curing a leaking radiator with black pepper. A pinhole in the radiator on a country road did not strand him. He cracked open the cap, dumped a tablespoon of black pepper into the coolant, and drove home. The pepper swelled in the hole and sealed it for the rest of the summer. The radiator replacement today costs $800. The pepper cost 3 cents. There is a man in Ohio right now who is 91 years old. He still walks down to the workshop his father built in 1939. He can sharpen a saw, tune a carburetor, splint a chicken's leg, build a coffee table from a fallen oak, and tell you the weather for the next 18 hours by the way the leaves turn over. He has tried to teach his great-grandson. The boy is 14 and lives in Atlanta. He has been to the workshop twice. The old man is one of about 3 million American men born before 1935 who still hold this entire body of knowledge in working order. Half of them will be in the ground inside 6 years. Nothing on the internet replaces what is about to be buried with them. The information survives, the hands do not. Number 13. Wiring a 3-way switch. He had taught himself out of a Sears electrical book in 1948. He could run a new circuit, wire a 3-way switch on the staircase, and rewire a lamp socket without thinking. He pulled the breaker, did the work, and turned the breaker back on. An electrician today charges $200 to come look at it. Number 12. Breaking and relaying a section of brick walkway. Frost Heave lifted the bricks every spring. He pulled them up by hand, leveled the sand bed with a 2x4, reset the bricks tight, and swept dry mortar into the joints. He hosed the walkway down, and the joints set hard by morning. The walkway is still there. He has been dead 26 years. Number 11. Rebuilding a small engine on the kitchen table. The lawnmower, the rototiller, the chainsaw. He pulled the head, lapped the valves with grinding paste and a suction cup tool, replaced the rings, set the points, gapped the plug, and put it back together on the kitchen table while the boy watched. The mower ran another 15 years. A small engine shop today charges $180 to look at it. Number 10. Building a kitchen table from a single white oak. He felled the tree on the back 40 in November, sawed the planks at a friend's mill, stacked them with stickers between the planks in the barn, and let them dry for 2 years. He built the table with mortise and tenon joints, no metal fasteners, and finished it with boiled linseed oil. The table is in his daughter's dining room. The grain still shows true. Here is the part of the story nobody on television will tell you. In 2019, the European Union estimated that planned obsolescence costs consumers an additional $175 billion a year globally. In 1955, the average American household spent under $30 a year on professional home repairs. By 2023, that number was 3,018. The houses did not become harder to fix. The men inside them lost the willingness to try. A washing machine in 1954 was repaired by the father who owned it. The same machine today is sealed shut, glued together, and labeled "No User Serviceable Parts Inside." That label was not an accident. The home repair industry in the United States now generates over $600 billion a year. Every dollar of it is a dollar your grandfather kept in his pocket. Number 9. Reading the children before they spoke. He came home, sat down at the kitchen table, and looked at them. He knew inside 30 seconds which child had been in a fight, which had failed a test, which was sick, which was hiding something. He did not interrogate. He waited. By bedtime, every one of them had told him the truth. A modern father stares at his phone through dinner. Number 8. Thawing a frozen pipe with a hairdryer or a wrapped rag. A frozen pipe under the kitchen sink in February was 11 minutes of work. You opened the cabinet, turned the faucet a quarter turn, and ran a hairdryer slowly along the pipe from the open end back. If there was no electricity, you wrapped the pipe in towels and poured hot water from a kettle along it. The pipe ran clear before the coffee got cold. A burst pipe today is a $1,400 emergency call. Number 7. Disciplining a child without raising his voice. He did not yell. He did not threaten. He looked at the child once, said the child's name, and the room went quiet. Authority in 1954 was something a father carried in his bearing, not in his volume. The child knew the line, knew the consequence, and knew the line did not move. A modern household negotiates. Number 6. Putting up a half bushel of tomatoes in an afternoon. She did the canning, but he ran the garden. He grew the Rutgers and the beefsteaks, picked them ripe, and carried 2 bushels into the kitchen on an August Saturday. By supper time, there were 40 quarts of crushed tomato, juice, and sauce on the basement shelves. They ate from those jars until April. A jar of pasta sauce today costs $6. Number 5. reading a newspaper from front to back every day. He sat at the kitchen table at 6 in the morning with the paper and a cup of black coffee. He read the front section, the local news, the editorials, the obituaries, and the weather. He could speak to any man on the street about any issue of the day. A modern father reads the headlines on a phone and remembers nothing. Number 4, walking 3 miles a day without thinking about it. He walked to the mill, walked the line in the plant, walked to church, walked to the store, and walked the dog after supper. By the time he was 60, he had walked the equivalent of 3 times around the earth. He never went to a gym. A modern father drives to a gym to walk on a machine. Number 3, saying exactly what he meant in fewer than 10 words. He did not pad. He did not soften. He did not over-explain. He told the boy what was wrong, what to do about it, and when to be back. The boy understood every word. A modern household drowns in language and communicates nothing. Number 2, being home for supper every night. He came through the door at 5:30. He washed his hands, and he sat at the head of the table. The family ate together, said Grace, and stayed at the table until everyone was finished. He was there for every meal of his children's childhoods. A modern father misses 4 out of 7. Number 1, finishing what he started. The simplest skill on this list. The one most thoroughly forgotten. Every job he began, he finished. Every promise he made, he kept. Everything he told the boy he would teach him, he taught. He did not start a project on a Saturday and abandon it on Sunday. He did not begin a repair and call a man to finish it. He did not say he would do something and then not do it. The skill was not a skill. It was a posture toward the world. It said, "My word is what holds this family together. My follow-through is what my children will remember." The day comes when nothing else works. The grid is dark. The phone is silent. The card does not swipe. On that day, the only thing that gets a family through the night is a man who finishes what he started. The men of 1954 finished things. They did not always do them well. They did not always do them quickly. They finished. And that single posture, more than any wrench in any drawer, is the survival skill that built the country and got buried with the men who carried it. None of these 25 skills required a license. None required a degree. They required a father who believed his job was to be the man his children could count on in good weather and in bad, when the lights worked and when they did not. That belief was once the default setting of the American household. Every father had it. Not because he was special, because the alternative, being the man who could not, was a quiet humiliation he refused to wear. He fixed the roof. He stocked the basement. He taught the boy to tie a knot. He sat at the table every night of his life. He did not call himself a survivalist. He did not call himself a handyman. He did not call himself anything. He went to work in the morning and came home at 5:30 and did what fathers had always done. We have replaced him with a calendar app and a service plan. The men of 1954 are mostly gone. The ones still alive are sitting in workshops their grandchildren do not visit. The knowledge in their hands is older than the country that taught it to them, and younger than the silence that is about to swallow it. They will only show you once. That is how the inheritance was always passed. That is the only way it ever comes back.